Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV and Radio, where wisdom meets experience. Join a dynamic lineup of thought leaders, professionals, and changemakers from around the world. Dr. Madeline Chan from the UK, Mariska Dupreya from Australia, Red O'Loughlin from Texas, USA, Carolyn Heward from the UK, Zunette Lub from Cape Town, South Africa, as they share expert insights, personal journeys, and impactful strategies for success. Talking Heads isn't just a show, it's a global stage for education, collaboration, and inspiration. So elevate your knowledge, expand your perspective, engage in conversations that matter. Streaming globally, empowering locally, this is Talking Heads, only on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hello and welcome back to all our regular viewers and listeners here at USA Global TV and Radio. Well, I am very happy to be here and a little bit full of giggles today, seeing as I had interesting tech things happening before the show. And then Dr. Jacalyn surprised me with my little photo of holding the cup. So, seeing as we are on Talking Heads, who am I? Oh, yes, I am Mariska Dupreya, and I am your expert presenter today. And what we will be talking about is 3 tips for high impact conversations. Now, as you might be familiar, or if you are not, I will inform you shortly. We typically on the show look at ways for leaders to bring more of the humanness into their leadership space. And now this is whether you are a brand new leader and fresh in stepping into this leadership space, or whether you are evolving in your leadership space and maybe moving up in that space as well. So within your leadership spaces, and this might even be at home, who knows, because yes, we are also leading our families and we are also leading ourselves. So these tips and tricks might even be helpful in those cases. So we are looking at 3 different ones today. And the very first one is a thing that I love as a coach, as a human being too. And that is all about our listening skills. Now, if you are new to this platform, you might not have noticed, but Dr. Jacalyn also has quite a few different resources on listening specifically. And we even have a fun little song called Listening Lazies. Now, typically, the song is for children, and we can still learn from it as adults. And within our leadership space, listening is really, really important, because we actually, in our organization, have a connection of people that's connected through the way we communicate. And this also helps to build our culture. This also has an impact on a whole bunch of other things. And at the core of that communication is listening. So I want you to think about silence. Yes, the thing that happens when there's no sound. And yet, that is the thing that's required in order for us to actually hear sound. If we don't have silence, we cannot hear the sounds that might come into our space. A pure musical note, or potentially a horn in traffic, or anything else. Silence is required in order for us to experience sound. And that's the same in conversations. Silence from us as the leader is required in order to hear what it is that the other person, or potentially our team, has that they want to share into that space. And if we fill the silence with our own voice, with our own ideas, with our own thinking, there's no space. There's no space for others' ideas. There's no space for others to bring in their brilliance and their way of being, because we are filling all of it. So listening is what is required and a very key skill in order to have high impact conversations. So that's the very, very first one. So next time when it becomes really quiet around you, just sit in that silence. If you have asked somebody a question and they are thinking about the question and they are keeping quiet because they are thinking, hold the silence. They will fill it. I know it can feel very uncomfortable from time to time for us to hold the silence. It is one of the skill sets that many a coach needed to learn early on in their coaching journeys, because typically for us as human beings, we want to fill the silence with some form of noise. Think about children playing. They are very rarely quiet. And if they are quiet, we start to wonder what they are up to. In our grown-up space and within our work environments, it's really important to be able to create that silent space in order for the sound to come in from others so that they can fill it. So think about that next time within your listening space as a leader. Then the second tip that I have today is around questions. As I alluded a little bit earlier on, when we ask a question, we want to create space for the question to actually germinate. So a question is almost like a seed. We have the wee little seed and we plant it, and then we give it water and sunlight and time, space, in order to grow into whatever is inside of that seed. And questions has that same capacity. It's a seed. Now, of course, don't know how avid gardeners you might be, but typically when we get a pack of seeds, not all of the seeds will necessarily germinate. Some of them are not quite ready, or they might not be alive inside anymore. And that's the same thing about questions. So when you think about a question, try it out on yourself first and just feel the energy of what's happening with you when you ask that question to yourself. Now, there's a whole bunch of different types of questions we can ask. And if you think about times when people, or maybe you, have asked a question, and it absolutely shut the person or you down, right? We have those types of questions. And we also have some training on how to ask questions. So you can go into our library and go and have a look at the types of questions that's helpful to ask within coach-like or any other conversations, especially to have high impact types of conversations. So questions, the way we design questions would have an impact on the impactfulness of our conversation. It's like the seed. It might be something big and bold, big tree, or it might be something more dainty or more specific, small little flower. So thinking about your question, first try the question out on yourself. And when I ask the question like, why did you do that? Well, how does that feel? What's the energy of that question? Does that feel like a generative question? Or does that feel like maybe we're shrinking in on ourselves? Typically, why questions, other than giving us great reasons, have a tendency, when we utilize them within our conversation space, to unfortunately be a little bit more turning in on ourselves. We want to protect ourselves. We want to think about the reasons why this thing happened so that we can stay safe and not take the blame for something or not be shamed for something. So why questions might not be generative. So we want to make very sure how this question would land with the other person, even if we ask it in a way where it sounds like it might be okay. The way that I asked it didn't sound harsh, but it might still feel harsh. So taking that into consideration. Now, when we think about questions, having them more generative is what we want to aim for. And when you think about a generative question, typically they might be a bit more open. So think about a question that you maybe received within your own space or that you maybe provided for somebody else, where you could really see that person think about it, where it was sort of a, I have never thought about it that way before. Or, oh, that's an interesting question. And then you get silence. Normally, the questions with a lot of impact is those ones that really hits deep. And they create silence for the other person externally, not necessarily internally. They are thinking about it, they are processing it, but they might not speak it. So some people might be verbal processors and they might start to talk. Other people might not be verbal processors and they might actually stay quiet for quite a long time before answering the question. So that's why tip number one is tip number one. We need to create that silence, because that gives us the opportunity that when we have presented the question, so our little seed, for it to grow and flourish within that silence space. So that's the second one, is really thinking about the questions that we're asking, having them generative, and testing them out on ourselves to make sure that what is it that I'm actually feeling when I hear this question? And what sort of thinking is it provoking for me? So questions are wonderful things because we can both use them with other people as well as on ourselves to see what happens and generate potentially new ideas or new outcomes. Then our third place that we want to look at when we think about high impact conversations is our own presence and state of being during the conversation. So this is partially the way we are being in general. So how present we can be in this very moment at this very point in time, because there's no other point in time that you are at other than this one. Where your feet is, you are. So when you think about being present, is being present in this conversation right now with this human being. And there's different ways in order for us to become present to the present moment. So some of those might be through meditative practices that you might have. It might be through exercise practices that you might have. There's a myriad different ways that you can become present to this moment. The thing that's important to remember is to be present in the moment when you have that conversation. Because being present in the moment, we can remember to create that silent space. We can then also remember to give a question in the form of a healthy, growable seed that can flourish into something beautiful. And we don't know what this other human being might do with it. So being present, we also not in our own heads. Because what I have found with a number of my clients throughout the years, it's typically our biggest thing that we need to overcome is being in our own heads. We are not present. We are thinking about the answer that we might give. We are thinking about the next step that we might take. We might even be thinking so far into the future or so far back into the past that this present moment, we are not even close to it. And yet the body is there, the head might be nodding, but the brain is something and somewhere else. So being sure that we are in the present moment helps us to have those high impact conversations. And the reason for this is when I have an impactful conversation with a person and I am present, that other human being feels seen and heard and felt in that moment. That also helps them to be present in this moment. Really consider the question that I gave them. Really appreciate the silence that we are creating together to see what blossoms out of it. And then in this way, we can find new solutions to different things that we might not have thought possible before. So understanding how to stay in the present and be in that space for ourselves is really, really important. And I know it is difficult. We have so many things, especially within our organizations and just life in general, to take into consideration, right? Life keeps happening. There's a million things that happens all at the same time. And now I'm asking you to be present in this moment, but what about the next moment and the next moment and the next moment? Well, the next moment will sort itself out. And if I am not present in this moment, I can actually not help the person in front of me to be present in this moment to solve the problem that they have. And because we cannot solve the problem that we have, it stays being a problem instead of being resolved. And we don't necessarily have a high impact conversation. So understanding how to keep ourselves in the moment in order to have that conversation is very, very helpful. Now, that's the three quick things to take into consideration. So first is listening and creating silence for ourselves. The second is the quality of our questions and really testing the questions out on ourselves. Of course, with the questions, we can also test it out on other people and then see what happens. Remember, we need to be present to see what happens. If I give somebody a question and then my mind starts wandering away, and I start to think about how I will answer the question or the solution I have to this problem, then I'm not looking at what's happening with that person and the question. So I need to become an observer of what is happening as well when I present my questions. And then we have presence and staying present. Now, for all of these things, we have a variety of different resources within our channel that you can go and have a look and look them up. As I mentioned before, there's definitely some resources around questioning and how to make our questions more impactful. There's also quite a few resources around listening and a variety of listening skills that you can apply. So you are more than welcome to go and look at them as well. And then for presencing, other than the few tips that we already have around how to keep ourselves present in the moment, there's also other types of resources that you can either find in our channel or, of course, go and Google. I am sure you will find loads and loads of different ways of being present and in this moment. And with those, I will leave you with some contact information first. So you can get hold of me via my LinkedIn. And there, of course, you can connect and send me a direct message. And we can continue our conversations of how to potentially have more high impact conversations. Because yes, these are 3 tips of how to do that, but there's a few more. And then you can also get hold of me via my website, which is journey2discover.com. There you can either utilize the link that is on the website itself to contact me, or alternatively, you can utilize my email address, which is Mariska, MARISKA, at journey2discover.com. So that's all the ways that you can get hold of me, whether it is to find out a little bit more about high impact conversations as a leader within your space, or whether it is around how you can utilize some of these tips and see how to bring them into your space yourself. I know it is always a lot easier to have the information than sometimes to apply the information, and that I can also help you with. So with that, for now, I am going to love and leave you, and I hope that you have very high impact conversations, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye for now.
When we speak, we don't hear. It's abundantly clear. Listening lazy creeping, and nobody's gonna win. Look someone in the eye. If you don't, they surely will cry. You don't hear a word I say, 'cause you always look straight away. Listening lazy is driving people crazy. Listening lazy is making us blue. Listening lazy is communication goes hazy. Listening lazy is, listening lazy is. Da 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 da. Listening lazy is driving people crazy. Listening lazy is making us blue. Listening lazy is communication goes hazy. Listening lazy is, listening lazy is. When you interrupt your friend, you will surely have to make amends. Lady Ella knows the way to help you listen better every day. And what's that?
It's listening lazy.
Listening lazy, drive it but crazy. Listening lazy is making us blue. Listening lazy, communication goes hazy. Listening lazy, listening lazy. Listening lazy, drive it but crazy. Listening lazy is making us blue. Listening lazy, communication goes hazy. Listening lazy, listening lazy, listening lazy.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.